All right, everyone. Welcome back to Bragging About Cinema. It has been far too long since I've said that phrase. The last review I did was a Christmas movie way back in November. I anticipated all kinds of Christmas reviews, and then I went on vacation. I got sick, worked a lot, got sick again around Christmas. Finally feeling back to myself. I miss doing reviews and I miss making videos. So I'm excited to do the full season of Willow, which I know has been a little controversial, but I'm here to give you my positive take on this show. Willow. So Willow, when I was a kid, was a movie that I absolutely loved. I watched it over and over and over again. And when I saw there was a show, of course, your first thought is always another reboot. Ugh. And then talking about it with some friends or people that I like to talk movies and TV with, well, they weren't that excited. Willow wasn't the big epic adventure for them that I thought it was for me. And it was throughout my childhood. Madmartigan was awesome. There was some pretty dark elves, and the Empress, she was pretty scary. So I thought it was a fun movie. And sometimes when they make a reboot, you're like, well, why did they do that? And I thought this show, and I think this show has a perfectly good reason, is they saved Laura Dannon so she could save the day. They didn't save her so that the movie would be over. So Laura Dannon still has to save the day. And so what did I think about this show? I have enjoyed the heck out of it. The first thing I need to say, though, is it does not feel like Willow, the movie. It has a completely different vibe. And I've been reading a lot of fantasy books, so I don't know if I am just in absolute fantasy mode, but I really enjoyed the new characters. I thought the cast gelled well, and I love that they brought Willow along. I almost kind of wish that they brought another OG character, Sorsha, along on their journey. It was sad, too, that Madmartigan couldn't be more in it. But what really set them off is they're the grandchildren of the Empress, and one of them is stolen. And the thought is that he is going to replace the void that left for the evil world. And so our heroes, they leave on an adventure to save the day. And of course, they bring around our favorite wizard, Willow. So my favorite character was Borman. He was kind of the big warrior type guy. You really didn't know where his allegiances lie. They let him out of custody so that he could go help these kids find the prince. And I thought he did a great job of the comic relief where it wasn't over the top, and he had a good serious tone. He really filled the Madmartigan role. And so he's definitely my favorite new character. Laura Dannon was, she didn't know she was a Laura Dannon at first, so that was kind of a neat little twist. Although watching the show, nothing too surprising happened. And I thought she did a good job of trying to fulfill her request. I think they could have sped up a little more her learning to become a new wizard. I also enjoyed her relationship with Willow. I felt like he deeply cared for her. Willow, played by Warwick Davis, was really the glue that held this show together. He was the main link between the movie and the show. Because we didn't see a lot of OG cast members, although there was a lot of references to them. He was the perfect almost Yoda character to guide this young group on their new quest and adventure. I liked Erin Kellyman as Jade. She was kind of the soldier type. So far, everything I've seen her in, she was in Falcon and Winter Soldier and Han Solo's Star Wars movie. I think she does great as an action star. And I'm looking forward to seeing her in more things. The actress playing Princess Katana, she did a really good job. She was kind of grew up differently. She didn't have all the trials and tribulations. Missing her father, that's the big mystery of the show, so I don't want to spoil that. It did not seem to get along with Laura, which created a lot of conflict in the group. I wish that Sorsha was in the show more. I think it would have been more of a link towards the original Willow. I didn't use a lot of the original music too, and sometimes that's what my complaint about the Star Wars shows. I think the music is what we think of when we see these awesome old properties and they get into new series. I thought that would have been great. Instead, they kind of went with more newer music, especially end of every episode. They would have some newer song that was changed a little bit, and that was kind of a neat way to end the shows, and it kind of made it a different fantasy feel than we normally have. I thought this was a decent one to watch with maybe older kids, maybe not quite for the younger viewers, but It is TV-14, so it's really up to you to decide what's appropriate. I thought it was a good offering for fantasy shows. And the other highlight was Christian Slater. He came in later in the season, and because I grew up in the 80s, Christian Slater was this huge actor, and I loved his character as well. He wasn't in it a lot, but I thought he really added that. He wasn't in the original Willow, but it kind of felt like he was just because he was such a big actor from that era. I'm going to give this one a solid B+. It was, there wasn't a lot of competition for my time, so this is one that I watched every Wednesday. If you are a huge fan of the movie, I could see why you wouldn't exactly like this. It doesn't have the same feel. This is really focused on the next generation in this Willow universe. Thought it did a great job building the Willow universe up more. I loved the familiar characters. I didn't particularly care for the way that they did Mad Mardigan. I don't want to spoil it for you. I'd be curious if you have seen it, what you thought of that. You can let me know down below. The ending was a bit predictable, and I'm hoping that there is a second season. I did see a ton of negativity online for this one, so I don't know. I never saw the viewership numbers, but I really enjoyed it. Again, I've been in fantasy mode lately, reading fantasy books and watching other various fantasy shows or rewatching. So I think I was just in the perfect mindset to enjoy this. So let me know, what did you think? Is this show worth bragging about? Did you absolutely hate it? Or are you seem like the minority like me that actually loved the show? I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to make sure that you see my next video, I am really hoping it's not as big of a gap. And in fact, I don't think it will be, but who knows? Life always takes us in funny directions. That would be great, but I'd love to hear from you. So the good news is, now that you've watched this video, you just got something to brag about.